𝗕ance, the son of King Demetrius Soter, sent a letter from the Mediterranean islands to Simon, the priest and leader of the Jews, and to all the people. The letter read as follows. This letter is from King Antiochus to Simon, high priest and leader, and to the Jewish nation. Greetings. Certain rebels have seized control of the kingdom of our ancestors, but I intend to reclaim it and restore it to its former state. I have recruited a large army of foreign troops and have built warships. And I plan to arrive in my country and take revenge on those who have destroyed our country and devastated many cities in my kingdom. Therefore, I confirm all tax exemptions that the kings before me granted you, along with any other promises of release from payments. I give you permission to mint your own coins in your country. I declare Jerusalem and the temple to be free. All the weapons you have made and the fortresses you have built and occupy are to remain yours. Any debts owed to the king, including future obligations, are cancelled from this moment and for all time. When we regain control of our kingdom, we will highly honor you, your nation, and your temple, so that your glory may be known throughout the world. In the 174th year of Greek rule, Antiochus Sidetes entered the land of his ancestors. All the troops rallied to his support so that only a few people supported Trypho. King Antiochus pursued him, and Trypho fled to the coastal town of Dor. Antiochus realized that Trypho was in deep trouble and that his troops had deserted him, so Antiochus set up camp near Dor with 120,000 soldiers and 8,000 horsemen. He surrounded the town, and his ships took up positions offshore. Antiochus shut off the town by land and sea so that no one could go in or out. Meanwhile, Numenius and his companions arrived from Rome with letters to various kings and countries. The letters read as follows. This letter is from Lucius, consul of the Romans, to King Ptolemy Physcon. Greetings. Ambassadors of the Jews have come to us as friends and allies, and they wanted to renew our former friendship and alliance. They had been sent by the high priest Simon and by the Jewish people. They also brought a gold shield weighing 570 kilograms. Therefore, we have decided without hesitation to send these instructions to many kings and countries. Do not harm the Jews or attack their cities or their land. Do not make alliances with anyone who wages war against the Jews. As a token of our friendship, we have decided to accept the shield from them. Therefore, if any troublemakers have fled to you from Judea, return them to the high priest Simon, so that he may punish them according to their law. This same message was sent to King Demetrius, Attalus, Ariarathes, and Arsaces, and to all the countries, including Sampsames, Sparta, Delos, Mindos, Sicyon, Caria, Samos, Pamphylia, Lycia, Halicarnassus, Rhodes, Phasaelus, Cos, Side, Aradus, Gortina, Cnidus, Cyprus, and Cyrene. A copy of the letter was also sent to Simon the high priest. King Antiochus Sidetes continued in his siege of Dor, assaulting it continually and building war machines to use against it. He trapped Trypho inside, and he could not escape. Simon sent Antiochus 2,000 select troops to help him, along with silver, gold, and a large amount of military equipment. But Antiochus refused to receive them. Instead, he renounced all agreements he had made with Simon and alienated himself from him. He sent Athenobius, one of his favored leaders, to meet with Simon and say, you are occupying Joppa, Gazara, and the citadel in Jerusalem, which are cities of my kingdom. You have devastated their territories, inflicted great damage on the land, and taken control of many places in my kingdom. Therefore, give back the cities you have taken and the tribute taxes from the places you control beyond the borders of Judea. Otherwise, give me 17 tons of silver for the destruction that you have caused, along with 17 tons more to reimburse me for the tribute taxes of the cities. If you fail to do this, we will come and attack you." So Athenobius, the king's favored leader, came to Jerusalem. He was astonished when he saw Simon's splendor, his cabinet with the gold and silver plate and his great magnificence. Then he delivered the king's message. Simon responded, "We have not taken anyone else's land or property. Rather, we have taken what is the inheritance of our ancestors, which had been unjustly occupied by our enemies. Now that we have the opportunity, we are merely recovering this inheritance. Joppa and Gazara inflicted great harm on our people and our land, but we will give you 3,400 kilograms of silver for them." Athenobius did not answer a single word in reply. He returned angrily to the king with this message and told him about Simon's great splendor. The king was enraged. Meanwhile, Trypho escaped by ship to Orthosia. The king appointed 𝗠ncibius commander of the coastal areas and gave him an army of foot soldiers and horsemen. The king ordered him to set up camp outside Judea. He ordered him to build up Kedron, to fortify its gates, and to attack the Jews. But the king himself pursued Trypho. So 𝗠ncibius came to Jamnia and began to harass the people by raiding Judea, taking prisoners, and then killing them. He built up Kedron and stationed horsemen and foot soldiers there so that they might make raids along the highways of Judea, as the king had commanded him. Simon's son John came up from Gazara and told his father what 𝗠ncibius had done. Simon called for his 2 eldest sons, Judas and John, and said to them, "My brothers and my father's family and I have spent our whole lives fighting Israel's battles. Things have gone well under our leadership, for we have rescued Israel many times. Now I am old, but by God's grace you have matured to manhood. You must replace me and my brother and continue fighting for our nation. May God help you." John chose 20,000 soldiers and horsemen from Judea, and they marched out to fight 𝗠ncibius. They camped for the night in Modane. Then they got up early in the morning and moved out onto the plain, where they faced a large army of foot soldiers and horsemen. A stream separated the 2 armies. As John and his troops lined up against the enemy, he saw that his troops were afraid to cross the stream. So he went over first. When his men saw him lead the way, they crossed over behind him. John divided his army, positioning the horsemen in the center of the foot soldiers, for the enemy also had a large cavalry. John's men sounded the trumpets and attacked, and 𝗠ncibius and his army fled. Many of the enemy were wounded and fell, and the rest fled into the fortress. At the same time, John's brother Judas was wounded, but John chased the enemy as far as Kedron, which 𝗠ncibius had built up. Some also fled into the towers in the fields of Azotus, but John burned these down. About 2,000 enemy soldiers were killed, and John returned safely to Judea. Ptolemy son of Abubus had been appointed governor over the plain of Jericho. He had a large amount of silver and gold, for he was a son-in-law of Simon the high priest. He became overly ambitious and wanted to gain control of the whole country. So he plotted against Simon and his sons to get rid of them by treachery. As Simon was going through the towns of Judea and attending to their needs, he and his sons Mattathias and Judas went down to Jericho in late winter of the 177th year of Greek rule. At Doc, a small fortress he had built, Ptolemy welcomed them with a deceptive display of friendliness. He invited them to a great banquet, but he hid his men in the fortress. When Simon and his sons were drunk, Ptolemy and his men jumped up, grabbed their weapons, and rushed into the banquet hall, killing Simon and his 2 sons and some of his servants. In this way, Ptolemy committed an act of great treachery, repaying evil for good. Ptolemy wrote a report of his actions and sent it to King Antiochus Sitis, asking him to send soldiers to help him. He also asked the king to place the towns and the country under his authority. Ptolemy also sent soldiers to Gazara to kill Simon's son John, and he sent letters to the army officers, asking them to come to him so he could give them silver and gold and gifts. He sent other soldiers to capture Jerusalem and the Temple Mount as well. But someone ran ahead to Gazara and told John that his father and his brothers were dead and that Ptolemy had sent men to kill him, too. When John heard this, he was astounded. He captured the men that came to kill him, and he killed them instead, for he knew their intentions. The rest of John's deeds, his battles, his brave accomplishments, his rebuilding of the walls, and his achievements, are all recorded in the history of his high priesthood, beginning from the time he succeeded his father as high priest.